Members of Congress don't just hear a story about a program and then indicate whether they support it or not.
I support the kindergartens program. We in America would be wise to implement it too. It's something that we should think about in America, about putting guns in the hands of law-abiding citizens, good guys, whether they be teachers or whether they actually be talented children or highly trained preschoolers.
Maybe having young people trained and understand how to defend themselves in their school might actually make us safer here.
A 3-year-old cannot defend itself from an assault rifle by throwing a Hello Kitty pencil case at it. Our founding fathers did not put an age limit on the Second Amendment.
The intensive 3-week kindergarten course introduces specially selected children from 12 to 4 years old to pistols, rifles, semi-automatics, and a rudimentary knowledge of mortars. In less than a month, a first grader can become a first grenader.
Toddlers are pure, uncorrupted by fake news or homosexuality. They don't worry if it's politically correct to shoot a mentally deranged gunman. They'll just do it. The science behind this program is proven. At age 4, a child processes images 80% faster than an adult, meaning that essentially, like owls, they can see in slow motion. Children under 5 also have elevated levels of the pheromone Blink-182, produced by the part of the liver known as the Rita Ara. This allows nerve reflexes to travel along the Cardi B neural pathway to the Wiz Khalifa 40% faster, saving time and saving lives.
When it comes to the safety of our children.
Yeah, that's pretty much. That goes back to like the thing we were talking about. It all just comes down to the money at the end of the day. These guys are just trying to make they're trying to get their seats back, and they're trying to.
So the unfortunate thing about that, that happens. These guys will back a bill and go with some junk, and it just really a toddler. Come on.
Hold on. Can you go back to that, Jack? I want to go back to the video.
Yeah, y'all should watch his other. He does like a bunch of these.
Just go back to that. All right.
19 million views.
I know, and look how many thumbs up.
203,000.
Yeah, but also that's a lot of thumbs. I mean, the ratio is there, but 24,000 people said this is not good.
Not good, right?
So.
And if anyone knows who Sacha Baron Cohen is, they know that he's a.
So what's your feeling on that as a gunner?
No. A toddler? Come on, man. Now, don't get me wrong. When my kids got old enough, I showed them how to shoot a gun. I showed them how to handle it, because when I was younger, my mom always made it look like the gun was the boogeyman. And, don't touch it. It might jump off the table and hit you in the head or whatever. I wanted my kids to be aware of what guns are, because if they came into contact with, even at my house, somebody else's house, I wanted them to be aware of what it does, how to use it, and how to safely, load it, whatever the case is. So I've taken my kids to the gun range, and they both know what to do with guns, but they were not 4 years old. They were much older. I want to say my oldest was probably 10. But I mean, my youngest was 7 or 8.
When Jack came to me when he was at school, I think he was about 13 at the time, and he came to a friend at his school. His father was taking him to the gun range. It
was my cousin, and it was Brian and Kenny.
Oh, it was?
Brian got an AR-15 at the age of like 10.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, I was appalled. Because in my culture, you just get that. And I'll be honest with you, I went to Carolyn and I said, Carolyn, what do I do? I said, I don't. It's a different culture. It's different. We discussed it. You end up going?
Yeah, we went, but it's like I was still too scared of him. You had to like hold I remember you had to hold my hands like as I pulled the
I
trigger.
went with you.
Yeah.
Oh, see,
But,
I can't even remember going with you.
But another thing is like also how we're brought up. Like you got to look at what are kids doing these days? Playing games. They're watching movies. The most popular movies are. What's the one with the Navy SEALs? It's like the really accurate one. It's like something Valor. I can't remember.
I know what you're talking about.
Active Valor, yeah. Like that. I saw that movie like growing up, and I thought that was badass. You know,
Right.
these SEALs going and killing terrorists. Call of Duty. You know, it's like guns are just normal now.
They are, and I think the more you educate yourself about
that's
the guns,
what I think the whole thing is now. That's where I'm going with this.
Yeah, you got to educate yourself
I feel
about
it's
it.
It's an education process, whether you're for them or against them. And I feel it's become a political part. The thing that I always go back to is, when you remember it was written, they were muskets, and it took 5 minutes to fill a gun. Now it's a little bit different. I encourage everybody to go to Jim Jeffries and watch gun control. One of the things he mentions there is if you buy an AR-15 in Australia, it's $28,000.
Oh my goodness!
So you buy an AR-15 in Australia, have a guess what? Then you're a good saver.
Yeah, I don't think I dropped that much money on any.
So, and I think that's part of the issue.
I think the way to resolve this problem is licensing. Now, the argument that is going to be made is you're making it harder to get something that's constitutionally given to you. But it's like a car, you have a car. You don't kill people with it, but you could if you do something stupid.
As a matter of fact, a lot of people die from car wrecks every year.
And with a car, you have to do insurance. You have to get a license. You have to renew that license. Now, I think with guns, it should be different because most people aren't always using the gun. But I think there should be like a week or 2 week free process of getting a license for a gun. Because if it's free, it's obtainable for everybody.
Right.
I don't know, like that's one step in the right direction. There does need to be some sort of licensing. I think the constitutional carry is going a bit in the wrong direction because it's just, anybody can walk on, you could do it before too. No one's going to stop you from just walking around with a gun. But there needs to be some sort of barrier around it where you're just educated on it.
We've spoke about that in the before. Tell us, James, about your constitutional carry views. I know you were saying that Texas isn't the only constitutional carry. There's another one. You want us?
At least, we can pull them up. Yeah. There's a lot of states that already have it. As a matter of fact, Vermont has always come to mind because they've had it for a while, and you can actually go as a 16-year-old carry a gun. And
is it a handgun?
Yeah, handgun, and not just a rifle. You can carry a gun. So it's not a new thing. There you go. It's not a new thing for these states in this. I think it's not as scary to me because I am educated on guns and gun usage, but everyone isn't. Now, quite frankly, they can write whatever law they want to write to confiscate guns. If criminals want guns, they're going to get guns.
Yeah.
Period. They're never going to stop that. And I think that's where the argument comes in, because when something happens, some type of shooting of some sort, they go to trying to put in more laws for guns. Well, quite frankly, we knew that it was against the law for whoever just got shot. But the gun law didn't help that case.
How do you explain it then that last year in the UK, 6 police officers.
You gotta speak up. It's not picking you up.
How do you explain what do you
in
mean?
the UK, 6 police officers got shot last year. Police officers. I think the problem is that the ball's already got out the gate.
Well, that might be possible. But writing a gun law,
and it's like one of the things one of the things we've got on our list, and it was interesting what Jack was saying. Was, you know, which is the harder job, the police officer or the pizza delivery driver?
Well, I would say a scarier one would be delivering that pizza, especially to a place to where you've never been before. Maybe it's dark, there's no lights, because somebody hit you over the head, that you can be out of there.
Right. When I was one of the foreclosure kings in the 2000s and did all them foreclosures, you know, I used to feel so concerned for them police officers. You know, some of them would even turn around and say, "Go wait behind the car." You know, and some of them properties were vacant. Some of them, but I mean, you know, and I got used to know some of them police officers. But, you know, when Jack brought that up the other day about a pizza delivery driver, because Jack used to deliver pizzas.
Well, yeah, so I'm going to tell you, there was one, when I was delivering, there was one spot, and it's a very low-income area back in Nacogdoches, which is some of the lowest per capita income in all of Texas. There was one place where that would come in every once a week, every other week, and they said if you go there, bring the exact amount of change for that order, and that's it. Don't bring, because you would have a money bag with all your orders from that day. They said do not bring it because people get hit when they go there.
Wow.
So they said just bring your stuff, and if you have to get change, drive back and bring it back. A cop doesn't do that. They have training. They're ex-military. They'll all yada yada yada.
They got a partner.
Yeah.
In some cases, somebody's
And
right
a
there with
radio.
them. And a radio.
I have to call 911, and they say, "Oh, what's the problem?" You know, I have to explain it to them.
And as a matter of fact, I found this out when my neighbor's house was. They went out of town, and one of the kids left the front door open, came out through the garage. So when that whole storm blew through, it kind of blew the door open. So nevertheless, called the cops. They, on their radios, both of their radios had gone out, but they have like a check-in, like every 10 minutes. They have to check in to say, hey, is everything okay? And if something, you know, is not shaking, then they're going to send somebody else out. So even that protection is there for, Compton versus a pizza. Now, we're not saying that it's the same job. We're just talking about just the comfort and the safety of knowing that, you know, you'll go home at night. Because, man, I remember as a kid seeing a pizza guy kind of going through this apartment, and I looked and I saw 3 dudes coming around the corner that looked like they were up to no good. And I don't know what happened to the guy, but.
And you see, one of my biggest arguments is, me and Jack, we spoke about this, definitely have different opinions, is, you know, I've always been brought up with, you look for the solutions, you don't look for the problems. But the truth of the matter is, I think there's a number of parts, a number of moving parts. A lot of people don't understand, are not even willing to listen regarding the gun issue. And the whole thing with a good guy with a gun, or a good toddler, is going to stop a bad guy with a gun. The truth of the matter is, if you look at the numbers, how many good guys with a gun have ever stopped a bad guy with a gun?
And I guess it'd be important to acknowledge.
Unless they're 4-year-olds, of course.
It does happen. Like in Dallas, when that church got shot up, like last year or 2 years ago. Some guy.
Was that one in New York?
No, this is in Dallas. It was a church.
But when you look at the amount of shootings and the good guy with a gun that stops it.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely correct.
I mean, it's just very frustrating. And so that's when I say to people is, are we a free country? You know, I mean, it's like the other day what happened, you know, there was some Houston shootings, there was Atlanta shootings. There was, you know, the other day I told you both the other day that I went to get my car washed, and I'm in there, and there was a group of people in there, and they all had pistols around their, and I didn't exactly feel comfortable, but at the same time, I didn't exactly feel safe. I'm not saying either way, you know, it's only because I've asked questions with James or, you know, Jack or, with other things, the other day. And the other part that I think people need to understand, because at one time I used to think that, an AR-15 assault rifle, but it's not an assault rifle.
That is correct.
And I think that's part of the problem, is people need to understand the problem to understand the real issue. So much propaganda, it really is disturbing, because we're never going to get to a problem. But I do think that because everybody sort of dug in with their feet, there's as I said to you, I don't know if I should call him a Republican friend, but he was one of my friends that I knew from the HOA. Unfortunately, he recently died of pancreatic cancer. And we used to have some really interesting conversations. So different. I will always listen to people, and I will always, I used to turn around to him and say, he grew up in Kentucky. I feel he'd done a lot for one of the communities where, for years he was on the board, because we took this particular board on in such a poor condition, and he wanted what was best for the community. And I got very familiar with his family, his sister in particular, who lives in Kentucky, and she's got her health problem. They asked me to, help out with some different things. So we basically said we'd help out. And his sister I turned around to his sister and I says, this is safe in the corner, and I really don't know what to do with this safe. So as he was deteriorating, and he deteriorated very, very quickly, and for everybody that knows anybody that's going through pancreatic cancer, it's a horrible way to go south. It was a very sad thing to see the pain that he. But basically, he had a gun safe. I didn't realize at the time, but it was a gun safe. In this gun safe, there was Jack was with me, because he understands the guns a bit more. I mean, he was taking the bullets out. They was all fully loaded. There was 2 boxes of huge ammo. I've never seen so much ammo. And how many guns would you say was in there, Jack?
There was double digit.
25?
More than 15. But that ammo, like, you should have seen some of the shit I was dealing with in college. Like, that is second nature to me. Point. That's just how the American culture.
And and then that's the part.
Any 9mm? What kind of ammo do you have?
Yeah, dude, 9mm 45. You got shotgun shells. He had the
357.
22 LR, so he had a little small ammo. He had everything. It's like, also, I think it's important to know, like, owning a gun is important in the United States, because the saying is like, what is it? Seconds matter when minutes occur, or something.
Something like that.
And it's like it's legally written where, if say we're getting robbed, right? Someone comes in here and holds us at gunpoint, and 4 cops pull up outside. The cops don't have to come in here if they feel their life is in danger. They don't have to do it.
But the truth.
So it's important to be able to defend yourself.
Yeah, I understand.
It is.
But I understand that. But the truth of the matter is, it's a combination lock. To get into the combination lock would have took him goodness knows how long.
Oh yeah.
But the truth of the matter is, well, then which gun do you grab?
Well, that's true, because
but it would have been, if somebody's breaking into your unit, they would have kicked the door down, got in there. I mean, honestly, when I first looked at all this, I could not get all these rifles and all these guns in my car.
Right.
There was so much in there. And some of the guns, I'm not a gun collector. I don't really have much time for guns. I do happen to perhaps occasionally carry one, but the truth of the matter is, some of these were beautiful looking things.
So they're more collector items.
Oh yeah, like the metal finishing on, like those really old guns with like nice metal finishing, nice wood.
Engraved. They were something that you would have as a collector's item.
Sure. But I mean, he had a Beretta M9 in there, which is like an awesome gun, stuff like that. Like definitely had stuff to defend himself with as well. But I think he was a hunter as well.
But if you're in
He
there,
was a deer hunter. He told me at times, you know, he's got telescopic sights. He had night sights.
Yeah.
I mean, they were in pristine condition. Beautiful wood.
yeah,
Oil in the chain.
yeah, you're supposed to take care of your guns. If you got them, you're gonna take care of them.
But you know, I was thinking to myself, what does this guy think? Does he think it's going to be a world war coming into it? This is a one-bedroom unit.
Well, I hear that all the time. People say, now some guys go out of, I mean, yeah, ridiculous. One guy that used to go to my church I attended, he had like a drawer, a chest, like with several drawers full of ammunition. And it's like, come on, man. You're the reason I can't find anything at Bass Pro Shops, bro. Come on.
It's like toilet paper.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. You're hoarding all of this stuff. It makes no sense.
But if America's such a great country and a free country, do you need that?
Well, it has nothing to do with being free there. It's your freedom to get it. But just like anything else, you got some people, they're into shoes. They buy a bunch of shoes. You got some folks that are into purses. You got people that are into watches. It's just, that's your thing. That's your vice. So
you think there's the same similarity between buying shoes and buying and buying an AR-15?
I think it can be in that case when it comes to someone feeling like, you know, they want to, you know, they're into guns. That's just their thing. They're into them.
Yeah, let me show you guys. This is one of the guys I follow. He plays games on Twitch. I'm going to show you guys. He's one of the most popular streamers for this game. But like, look behind him. Look at his room. Like, some people just really do like guns, you know. So like, oh, you can't see the screen. He's got these are all handguns. These are all rifles. But like, the thing is with him, you say, hey, do you have a SR-25? He knows exactly where it is. He's like, yeah, this one's chambered in this XYZ. It's this much weight. You know, like, people just, it's like being a car guy.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So
you know a little bit about cars.
But you don't need that many guns, but some people just like to go shoot on the weekends. That's what they do. And like, truth be told, I don't think he's going to go shoot this war.
Probably not.
Let me ask you a question, though, which is sort of relation to this. And I don't want to feel like I'm pulling the racialist card as well. But I'm going to ask you as a black man. I was hoping Aaron would be here as well. On January the 6th, if they were black guys, do you think they would have been treated the same?
I can't say that they would have.
Because I don't think they would.
Because
they've done experiments where they've had, you know, white guys walk through the streets, and they've had black guys walk through the streets, you know, with some of the, you know, the black militias.
Well, I mean, if you just look at, I don't want to cut you off, James, but like, if you look at like a BLM protests where they compared like the city capital of whatever, like Missouri or whatever, they had like the Coast Guard already on the stairs, and I think the truth be told, at January 6th, they just were not ready for that because no one.
They wasn't.
They weren't.
They wasn't.
I mean, who storms the Capitol?
Yeah.
That's like unheard of. No one does that. So they just call them with their pants down.
Regardless what side of the fence they was on, I think it made America look so bad then.
Oh yeah, it was embarrassing anyway. But let's just call it what it is. Since you brought it up. Walking life as a black person versus a non-black person is going to be different anyway, no matter where we go. Your experience in walking in a store and dealing with people will be different than mine will be. And that's
me and you have had the conversation, haven't we? We've said, you know, because another very good friend of mine who's African American, you know, was telling me, oh, well, I've had to have the conversation with my son who's 10 years old, you know, if ever I'm stopped by the police. And then I turned around to you one day, didn't I? And I said, that conversation thing with the police. And he said, oh, yeah, it's
absolutely
a standard thing.
You got to do it, man. Because unfortunately, it's different. And it all boils down to people not engaging with one another, sitting down, having a conversation. You look and when folks say stuff like, oh yeah, I have two such and such friends. If you can count your friends that way, then there's a problem, in my opinion.
Yeah.
If you can count, I got 2 white friends, or I've got 2 Asian friends, or I got 2. Okay, so you can count them. So what?
Because you're acknowledging the barrier.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's like, bro, you just got your friend. Just like I got people that I used to go to a church that was predominantly white. And I loved everyone in there. Everyone still do to this day. But people, they would have kids. And their kids, I would see them during service and they'd be kind of like this, looking, watching my whole move. Almost like they've never seen someone that looks different than them. And I would just go to the parent. I said, hey, you get your kid out to see other people that don't look like you. We live in Houston, one of the most diverse cities in the Union. You need to get them out because they're staring at me like I know I'm not handsome, but they're looking at me like I got three heads, and you need to get them out and interact with people. But so many times we don't take the time to invite people into our world.
Well, adding on to the cop talk.
Yeah.
Okay. When I bought my first house, Century 21 Olympian, we pulled up in the moving truck. And I don't know if you was there at the time, Jack, but we pulled up outside. We still had
Can you hear him, Jack?
Yeah.
All right.
We still had the old house, so we was gradually moving in because we was rehabbing the house that we live in now. And then all of a sudden there was this white guy come from over the street, ran up to me. Was you in the truck at the time? Was you with me?
No, I know what story you're going to say, but when you get to the Mexican part, don't say that word.
Okay.
I know where you're going with this.
Because I never heard that the word he's talking about before. But basically, this guy came up and he said, not welcome to the area, do you need a bowl of sugar? He said, you just bought this house. And I looked at him, thought, that's a strange thing to say. And I said, yeah, me and my wife have bought the house. Now, one thing which I will tell you and I'll tell everybody on the channel is, I think there's less racialism, regardless what Meghan Markle says about, even Harry, to be perfectly honest. First, I walked into school. My best friend, Leroy, is an African American. He's an African guy. Then there was another guy, believe it or not, his name was Mark Phillips. He's an Indian guy, Christian. And I knew them all the way through my school careers.
Oh, okay.
It was very, very diverse. When I was 18, I even went to John's wedding in Bombay in India. It was an arranged marriage. I still see him from time to time. I haven't seen him for 4 years. But this neighbour came up to me and said, are you just moving the furniture into the house, or have you bought the house? I turned around and I said, we just bought the house. Put his hand on my shoulder. He said, oh, I'm so glad you're not one, and he used the N-word, and then he used another word which was, I found out after, which Jack just said was derogatory for a Hispanic.
I mean, it's like calling the
Same.
black person that
Right.
word. So I said, no.
Right.
And then he puts his hand, he says, I'm so glad that, nobody's... And I'm thinking to myself, welcome to the neighbourhood, enjoy your bowl of sugar, if there's anything you need, let me know. And I feel that over in America, what you've got is, I really feel you've got this racialism which is under the carpet. It is,
and that's why.
And I feel the only way it's going to change is by white people. Is by white people addressing the problem.
Exactly what I was going to say. So what did you say to that guy about that?
What did I say to him?
Well, answer that, because then I'll add something
what
else
did you
to
say?
James
What
said.
was your response to him?
I
saying
never
that?
ever spoke to him again.
Okay, no, but what happened when I moved back in this last year, and I was talking to Kevin, our neighbor. The guy died. He died last year, right? And so, what did you do? What did you do when you found out he died?
That's not very nice for you to ask me that.
And
What did he do?
He brought him a card that said, "I'm sorry that you died." He said, "Jack, will you sign it?" I said, "I am not signing that card. I refuse to sign that card." I said, "If you want my name on that card, you're putting my name on that card because I'm not associating myself with him."
And that's the thing, Steve. To your point, white people's a majority, right? You got to call out the problem. Say, bro, I don't know who you think I am, but I'm not about that life. My cousin lives in Alabama. He was trying to buy a building, and the building itself was 15 grand for a business. Now, he is going, and what he's telling another guy that kind of works in the city, he kind of told him about it. He said, well, man, you want to kind of be careful because if you go in, let me try to help you because they're going to try to charge you more to do it. Come to find out, they absolutely did try to charge him more for the building, $30,000 versus $15,000.
Jeez.
Now, what I asked him, I said, so what did that guy say to the person that's trying to sell the building? Did he check him? And he said, well, I don't know. I said, that's who I got the problem with because this is happening and you're not going to address it. That to me is a bigger problem. If you sit aside and you let something happen and you say nothing about it, you're condoning it. That's how I feel about it. So I think the voices
I never
have to be heard.
conversed with him after that. I just didn't want nothing to do with him.
I would have told him, hey, bro, you can go kick rocks.
Yeah.
That's not about
and that dude, his son, and I know his son is not tied to him, but he'll wave at me and I'll stare at him in his face because I do not it's not even worth my time even making. I don't want you to even think we're anywhere close to acquaintances. Like you come onto my lawn, I'm kicking you off, dude. I don't care if my name's not on the tax record.
Yeah.
I will pull a gun on you because I don't like you.
And there's some things that have happened with the local council.
Yeah.
The city. No, not the HOA, but just the city council that have happened, and the local community haven't really come down on their side, have they?
No.
There's different things that have gone
Oh,
on.
with that family?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Because there was another guy who used to live next to him who was, listen to this, a gun rights advocate, right? Gun rights advocate.
Okay.
And he gave me the lecture once and saying, oh no, if somebody comes to me, I'll use my gun. I know how to use it.
That's a good story to tell. You should share this story.
I know how to use my gun. Da 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 da. Okay. Somebody broke into his house, broke into his patio door, stole his thing. In front of him.
While he was there?
Yeah, looking at the guy with his gun, right? The guy panicked who was broken in, broke the thing, and he ran out. But he gets better.
Doubles down.
The guy comes back again and does it again.
What, the same guy?
And you know what he did? You know what he did?
What did he do?
He repaired the door and moved out and sold the house and moved out to Sugarland.
Yeah.
All this big talk about what he do
That's
and
what
how
I'm
he
saying.
Man. Now we're not inherently meant to kill each other,
Yeah,
right? So I get it.
Thank you. It's also important to note that he didn't do it because if someone steals your TV, okay,
Bro,
take the
TV is super cheap right now. It's like
I'll buy a new one. I don't have to
Right.
kill someone, but if it does get to the life-threatening point, definitely you gotta know when the right. And he saved himself a lot of trouble too by not pulling that trigger on that guy. Because when I took my LTC, they say every shot in a self-defense case is going to cost you $50,000 in attorney's fees.
Really?
Yeah, and that was 2 years ago. License to carry class. It's not very prevalent anymore, but that is one of the statistics that they give you with your defensive.
Well, that's why I have Texas Law Shield.
Yeah, and that's
on
important,
tap.
yeah. And they shill you that in the class.
Absolutely.
How much is that?
We pay like $60 a month.
And you get an attorney 24/7.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, they say after you pull the trigger, call them.
Yeah. Don't even call the cops.
Don't call the
cops to get them there.
But call them.
Yeah. Don't talk to the cops.
Don't talk to the cops at all. So it's been worth it. I haven't had to do that. So,
God
forbid.
Yeah, God forbid.
I never want to have to do that. But that's a fee that I'll pay. Yeah.
But I just feel that the problem, I've got a lot of police friends that are African American through even the HOA, and I've asked them all the time, what's the problem, and their belief is it's a problem that's in the police. It's inherently in the police, but I also think it's in society.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. Definitely.
And I just think to everybody, how do you solve the problem?
It's bringing knowledge to it. And I was talking, and this actually, because this will tie into real estate as well. I was talking to one of our agents, and we were talking about how HAR changed. You can't call it the master bedroom. It's the primary bedroom. And she was like, "Oh, that's bullshit. Like, it doesn't do anything." And I was like, "You're right. You're kind of right. But at the same time, I didn't know it was racist.
Right.
You probably didn't know it was racist. So it's like those little things really do add up when you start to bring light to them. For example, have you had like chitlins before?
Oh, absolutely.
And so like, do you even know what chitlins are?
Sort of.
Yeah. So I don't. I just know that it's gross, right? but here's the thing. Do you know why it's an African American dish? It's because slave owners would give the slaves the things that they didn't want to eat.
They didn't want.
So when I say it's gross, that's because that's how it's supposed to. Like, they were given the dog shit food, and it's so impressive that they were able to turn that into like a cultural dish that actually is really good. But it's like no one knows that that's like the scraps, that the slave owners didn't want.
And you don't find that out without research, right?
Exactly. You have to find out for yourself.
Research, or you befriend someone that is in the culture, and they can tell you, "Oh yeah, man, that's what that is."
Yeah. So
absolutely.
So it's just like bringing light to the very small things, one step at a time. But
right.
I think there will be a point when it does correct itself.
We know the actual the hate that's taught. That's something that's taught, because if you can get a room full of kids, all them kids are going to play together, and it doesn't matter what they look like. But you get to a point where you feel like you're superior than someone else, and then you start to push that down. And the issue, my personal opinion, with the police, they don't police themselves. Mm-hmm. It's all about just protecting this. Oh, we're all in here.
Who do you think should police the police? Do you think it should?
They should police themselves, but
do you think it should be a separate organization?
I don't know if it takes that, or if it just takes a matter of them being just more transparent.
Yeah.
Because there's always something you hear about a case coming up, and oh shoot, that guy got shot, and the video comes out. Come to find out that was 2 years ago. They just never released the information. So I say you got the mayor that's complicit, because they're the leader of the police department in the city. The mayor's complicit. The chief of police is complicit, and all those city leadership government people that are voted into policy.
Of the situation, because at the end of the day, they need votes to get into the.
Well, that's what I'm saying. All those people, they're all complicit in it because they're in the powers of position. So we just got to do a better job, going back to what we were talking about, of voting the right people in place. Period. And some of these areas, man, that cops. They have cops that, for lack of better words, they're not from the area, so they may have heard about it. So they're already kind of on the edge. It's like, oh, shoot, I got to go in here. I know it's kind of rough over here. So you already kind of have this preconceived idea of what things are going to be or how people are going to act. So that kind of puts you on edge. And it's so much layered in. But
yeah, because they do hire from out of state. Like, you can be from LA.
Exactly.
And in Texas, and HPD will hire you. Now, imagine being from LA and only hearing about the 5th Ward, and then that's where you're signed to in Houston, You're already, if someone walks in the back of your car, you've already got your hand on your gun because you think you're about to get jumped.
You're already thinking.
And to go on this was an important raid that they did. This was a no-knock raid this a year or two ago. Hopefully they talk about it. We'll watch it first.
Charges in a deadly HPD drug raid that has made headlines for now a year and a half. Harris County District Attorney Kim Ogg made that announcement just within the last hour.
You saw it live on Channel 2 News at 5. HPD supervisors now charged in the Harding Street investigation. That's the raid that left Regina Nicholas and Dennis Tuttle dead.
Channel 2's Jacob Rascone live downtown where that news conference was held. Jacob, really bombshell news here.
And Dominique and Chris, the district attorney, described it as an ongoing scheme, something that had been happening for years, in which high-level narcotics officers and their supervisors essentially repeatedly lied and stole from the taxpayer.
Warrants have
taxes.
now issued
Weird.
for 6 former HPD narcotics officers in total.
15 new criminal charges for 6 former HPD narcotics officers, all but one members of Narcotics Squad 15, including Gerald Goins and Stephen Bryant, who have already been charged in the botched deadly Harding Street raid in 2019, plus 3 supervisors on the team, including a lieutenant, as well as a senior police officer with another squad. These officers, the district attorney said, worked together to repeatedly lie on government documents and illegally collecting thousands of dollars in confidential informant payouts. In addition to that, the officers are accused of stealing unearned overtime pay. The motive for all of it, the district attorney said, was money, an ongoing scheme that
So
was
it's
only
like, how do you fix
investigated
this?
as
You
a
know,
result
like
of the
it's
deadly
within
raid
the system.
that left Regina Nicholas and husband Dennis
and also to go
Tuttle
on this, it's like
dead
back
in
to
their
that
home.
story you were talking about
not
where
deserve to wear the badge.
our neighbor
which is-
got walked in on, right, with the gun.
Yeah.
What do you do when that's 3 a.m, but that's not a robber? That's the local law enforcement.
Right.
And there's not one. There's 5 SWAT vehicles outside. There's 30 other dudes with M4 or not M4s. They'd be AR-15s just sitting outside waiting for you to shoot that guy. So that's if that guy would have shot that intruder and that intruder's a cop, he's dead. It doesn't even matter because if you shoot at a cop, you're getting shot at the end of the
They're
day.
gonna shoot you.
There's no way out of it. So that like, how do you fix the system? That's the real question. How do you fix like this? Now they're trying to outlaw no-knock raids, which should be outlawed because it's so dangerous.
It is dangerous.
What's a no-knock raid?
Where they just kind of go to your house and just bust in the door without letting you know.
Exactly what it sounds like. They don't have to knock.
They don't have to knock.
A regular search warrant, like say I don't pay a traffic fee for like 7 years.
They can knock on the door.
They knock on the door. They leave a note like an eviction. They say, hey, the court is trying to get a hold of Jack. Please report to this date or else your fine will go up. With this, no. They send 20 dudes to your house. They bust that door down and they're in there with handguns. And you could be sleeping at 5 a.m. and you'll wake up with a gun and a light in your face. And this could be done for drugs and stuff. And it's like at the end of the day, like it's another branch we're going out on, but it's like, should they do this for a weed charge? You know, for marijuana?
Is it that serious?
Is it this serious for even cocaine?
Right.
For meth? I don't think it is. Maybe if you're like a high-level drug dealer, but it's like even if you allow a high-level drug dealer, they twist the information to make, even if you're not a high-level drug dealer, now you are because you sold 1 gram of meth.
I mean, people will disagree, and a lot of folks don't even realize that I have this stance. And again, this is going down another path, because I do lean conservative in my ideals, but I feel like drugs, they're fairly. I mean, if you take drugs, that's your business.
Yeah.
If it's a victimless kind of deal, man. Yeah, it's not cool to take them, but. Am I going to be going in a no-knock raid, risking my life, shooting somebody? And that's on you. I say you legalize whatever you're going to legalize and let it be, tax it, and move on down the line. But because you're not going to get rid of them. They never will eradicate them at all. So you may as well embrace it.
The only way you reduce it is by legalizing it.
Right.
And make some taxes on it.
Yeah, you might as well make the revenue for it.
Make some revenue for it, man. Fix some of these streets in these neighborhoods.
It's a bit like gambling. I mean, quite honestly, everybody takes all their money from Texas. Where do they go? Louisiana. Let's just take our money out of Texas.
And let's be real. There are some places here that they got these little illegal game rooms where people are still gambling. Yeah,
well, like I showed you last week, what can you do? You can go onto the internet and
absolutely
with your Bitcoin.
Absolutely.
So I mean, it's changing. Everything is changing fast, and I don't think the government will be able to keep up with all the stuff that's happening because it's so far behind. It's like the dam is collapsing, and the government is waiting till the dam has like fracture in the base of it.
Yeah.
To decide, hey, we should maybe get some contractors out there to fix it.
We should fix
go
it.
Look at it.
Exactly.
Real quickly, and then Jack will have to do some editing. When you spoke to your kids, what did you basically say? Keep your hands on the wheel and
come home. Point blank, come home. Follow directions, whatever you're told to do. They kick you in the stomach, bruh, just get home. We'll deal with it afterwards. Yeah. That's the whole deal. Now, you see all of these people, fighting with the cops. I think some folks just don't have respect for authority. But in the case, because he asked too, well, what if he does this to me? I said, bro, deal with it. Get home, because we can deal with that later.
One of our agents who was with us lives in Missouri City. Now, there's always two sides to a story, so I don't know. But she swore blind that I've met a kid once, and a kid was, I think, very respectful. To me, he was anyway. And he pulled up on the driveway to his own house. There was 3 policemen all pulled guns on him.
Oh yeah, that happens. That happened to some baseball player's kid over in River Oaks some years back.
And it happens, yeah. And they wrote him a ticket at the end of the day. And it cost him all this money to defend himself in court.
Now, they wrote him a ticket for what?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I didn't.
Because something else must have happened with that whole deal.
Yeah, they could do like resisting arrest.
Yeah.
Well, they had him for. I think they had him for resisting arrest.
Well, see, that's the thing. That's what I was talking about. It's like, look, I've never now, and I'm not saying there's not a problem with the police officers. So don't get me wrong. But I know all police officers aren't bad. But I can tell you right now that I have never had a bad interaction with the police. Never. I can tell you right now that I've had them give me more breaks than anything. Hey man, you're speeding, just slow down. Or you got this out, make sure you get it. They've let me off, but I've never had a bad interaction with them. So I can't sit here and me say, oh, all cops are bad, because in my experience, I can't. Now, are some of them kind of dry? Yeah, that's just kind of their personality. I think you got to kind of be that way sometimes, but they're not there to be your friend, But that was more of what I told my son. Listen, they're not all bad. We all know this. You kind of get some bad apples, but we want you to get home.
Is that old?
18 and 21. 18 and 21.
And have they been stopped?
Oh yeah, they've been stopped.
But they just come straight home? That helps them do.
No, when I say come home, meaning get your ticket. Yeah. Follow what the dude tells you.
Make it home alive.
And just get home alive,
Yeah.
basically. That's what I'm getting at.
But it's like with most of my friends, I think it's like an age thing too. When you get stopped by cops, let's say he plants 5 grams of meth on you.
Yeah.
You can't do anything about that.
Nothing.
Don't fight him. Don't punch him. It is what it is. It sucks that he put meth on you, but at the end of the day, you're going to jail. Even though you didn't do anything wrong. Only one who can fix that is an attorney in law, in the court of law. It doesn't matter what you got stopped for. You can't fix that situation on the spot.
And people feel like, because they publicize it so much, and it's almost like they want us to stay divided on it. They put it out there, this cop this or this cop that. It's like, come on, man, it's ridiculous. It makes no sense. Just do what you're asked to do and move forward. Now, some cops are over the top. Don't get me wrong. Some folks, you standing on my neck for 9 minutes, that's ridiculous. There's no question that is over the top. But, it's some stuff I think can be de-escalated as well.
I agree.
Yes, sir.
And then before we wrap up, I just want to mention, with your conservative views, how do you see, because I'll be honest with you, I sort of have got no real views on some of the things, because I just think it's a lot more complicated than what people give it. I just find it a lot more complicated than what some people give it. I don't think you can necessarily have an answer to the problem because it's gone on for so long. And there really is much more to it. So regarding to the fair tax problem, how would you address that?
fair tax?
Yeah, a fairer tax situation.
Oh, you mean for everybody? Mm-hmm. Honestly, man, I kind of liked, believe it or not, this again, going against my normal views, the way Bernie Sanders was talking about the flat tax, man, it makes sense to me. I mean,
we tried that in Europe. We tried that in Europe in poll tax, and it was so difficult.
Well, I think it's different here. I mean, because you got different product, different goods, different businesses. It's not, you can't really parallel Europe and America in that case. But I think it should just be flat on what you buy. Look, man, if you don't want to pay it, then don't buy it. You know what it's going to be if you get it.
So you're saying do it on the sales tax side?
I think it can be something put in place where it's just going to be flat. You already know what you're going to do. Because right now, let's say in Jack's case, he made, the 15 grand or whatever, and ultimately ended up paying, 10, 12% on whatever he made, right? Well, next year when he makes 40 grand, then he's going to be in a completely different tax bracket and pay more. But
so would you do it on the sales side, or you would do it on the?
I think, and I didn't go completely deep into Bernie's plan, but I think he was talking about on goods and on just kind of across the board on anything that you purchase or consume. It was just going to be flat, and you wouldn't have to guess. I think that. Did you get any more other details on it? Is that about
on what?
For Bernie Sanders' his plan, his tax plan? I think it was just kind of a flat percentage based on income, what you buy, all of that stuff, because it made it more simple.
And that's the thing I do think with a lot of the things. I think it needs to be made more simple. That's sort of, I like in principle what Trump did, because what he was trying to do was really make it a lot more easier and simpler.
Right.
I'm going to throw this into the pot too, because I know someone who argues this. Wealth in the United States isn't generated from working an actual job. Real wealth is generated in capital gains on assets, whether it be your real estate, your stocks, your business. So the capital gains, and it sucks because I have my stocks, and it would suck. 14% or whatever it is now is already super high. But that, like, even when you get to Warren Buffett size, where you have millions of dollars in equities, and like right now, I don't even want to know how much his real estate is up to this day. That's what you're supposed to tax, because that's where the real wealth is generated. Taxing on an income, I feel like, especially when you're living paycheck to paycheck, is so obsolete. It just leaves everything in the dirt.
Right.
Plus, on a capital gains tax, you don't get taxed on that until you're cashing it out. So you get that money at that time.
Right.
Because like your house, it can go up $200K. You shouldn't pay $200K taxes on, or like the 14% on $200K that like every year, because then you're not cashing out. You're just losing money at that point.
Exactly.
So I think capital gains tax at the end, when you cash that out, and the longer you hold, the less you get taxed.
Right.
Is like the easiest way to, or not the easiest, but it's the most efficient way to go about it. That's where the wealth comes from in the United States.
Right. I agree.
Not from selling real estate. It's when your money works for you is what makes you wealthy.
Because I know people on the flip side of where Jack was at, they make $15,000, but they got 4 kids and they get $9 grand back, and it's like, because that's how the tax code is written.
Yep.
And it's like, how fair is that when you got 2 people making the same amount of money? One gets taxed $4,000, and the other one they're giving $9,000 back. So I don't know, man. I'm all about keeping money in my pocket. Yeah. That may sound selfish, but
that's everyone's goal. That's everyone's goal. You're not being selfish.
I want to do that.
What's your answer on to stop some of these mass shootings?
You can't stop mass shootings any more than you can stop plane crashes or car crashes.
So we shouldn't do anything about it?
Well, what do you do?
I think it's a mental thing.
What do you, checking out people? Because if you go back to it, if you buy a gun legally and you obtain it and you care for it, whatever, and someone goes, nothing stops me right now.
Do you think it's true that 70% of Americans believe in better gun control?
70%? I don't know. I've never polled anybody. That seems high to me.
That does seem high.
That seems really high.
But
I was told the other day that apparently 70% of gun owners reckon that we should have.
Wasn't that
I'll say that sounds too good to be true. I wish 70% of America felt that way. But it's like, what is stopping any of us right now from going to the, like, having a really bad day?
That's what I'm just about to say.
Going to the store, getting the AR-15, and then going to the gallery.
Nothing.
It's a mental. We have to figure out, why do you have the desire to shoot all these people?
Right.
It's application process screening isn't going to stop that.
It's not.
It all comes down to fixing the ideology.
And you see, that's why I recommend to everybody to go watch Jim Jeffries' Gun Control, because he was basically saying about, you know, in Australia when they had the mass shooting in 1996 in Port Arthur, they could have assault rifles. They turned around and, you know, the government turned around and said, okay, no assault rifles. No one away, and everybody in Australia says, okay. Now, if we did that in America, it'd be all hell to let loose.
Because you can't.
I mean,
Right.
I'll say in Australia, if I lived in Australia, I'd want an AR-15. You see
Me
some of the
too.
shit they deal with? They have fucking tarantulas.
Man,
like,
their spiders are the size of his laptop.
that's the Wild West. That's the real Wild
When I
West.
lived in Australia, I was there for a month, and I couldn't wait to get back because of the spiders and the snakes.
Man,
Hey, that $28,000 might be an investment at the end of the day in Australia.
Exactly.
It's probably worth it.
Exactly.
And anyway, so
Well, this has been good, man. This has been good. Good discussion.
So, you know, but it's just, that's what I want to hear from people. I want to hear what the solutions are, you know, because there's more mass shootings over here than anywhere else.
Well, I tell you, it happens in where guns aren't allowed, though. You don't ever hear them in the gun ranges. Nobody goes in and shoots anybody in the gun range. Bass Pro Shops, Academy, never. Doesn't happen. Because people got guns there.
So perhaps we need to turn around and say, okay, you want to use an assault rifle? Go to a gun range.
Well, you know, assault rifles are illegal. So, I mean, no, they wouldn't be giving anyone any.
But I do
pass
think
to
that,
do
as you said, that people don't understand what an assault rifle is.
I don't think they want to find out either.
You know, and
Yeah.
I think people need to understand that AR-15 is not an assault.
It is not.
Now, if you want to argue that it's an assault rifle, that's a different road we can go down, because that's you're
Right.
addressing the terminology. But as it stands in law, it is not an assault rifle.
It is not.
Yeah.
So an AR-15 is.
So it's a rifle.
It's a long gun.
An AR-15 is.
It works no different than my Glock
Exactly. Yeah.
9mm.
Shoots a
So you've
different
got to
bullet.
press that button
Gotta
each
press the
time.
button each time.
Now you can get
It looks scarier. You can say it looks scarier,
Yeah.
but that's subjective. But whatever. What are you gonna say, Jack?
Now you can get modifications,
Right.
like a bump stock, which I don't know if that's legal or illegal.
I don't even think they're legal anymore.
Yeah, but like at the Las Vegas shooting, that's how he got the automatic
feel of the gun.
Yeah, because
right?
I want to feel it's like the perception, I guess, because the gun inherently wasn't fully automatic, but you can pretty much make it automatic. Now that's a different topic as well to go down. But the AR-15 at its core, how it's sold, is not an assault rifle.
Right.
Yeah. It's just, and like James said, it's no different from a Glock. Like you can ban the AR-15. If a kid wants to shoot up a school, he'll go buy an AK-47. He'll, whatever the hell he wants to. Like there's a bunch of alternatives.
But at this point, I'd rather be a police officer than a pizza delivery driver.
So you would be?
I'd rather be a policeman than a pizza
over
delivery
the two.
driver.
Yeah.
I mean, you get health insurance and stuff too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I feel sorry for some of these food delivery drivers, especially with the growth that we've got now with, what are they?
They're not getting tipped or anything, yeah. They're making like $4 an hour, those delivery drivers. For
I don't know how they do it. I couldn't do it. I could absolutely not do it.
It's the same as Uber. And
Yeah, people, if I feel like if you're not gonna pay,
don't use the service.
Don't use the service.
No.
And actually, at the restaurant I work at, we cut off the online orders through those certain platforms because they just don't tip. They don't tip the drivers. They don't tip us.
Yeah,
so,
that's not cool.
So we said, nope, we're not doing it anymore. We cut it off for 2 weeks just to see if it changes the business outcome at all.
Did it?
Well, it started this week, so we'll have to find out.
We'll see.
But,
Okay.
Yeah.
But I know he came home pissed one night because what time did that one guy?
It happens so prevalent, like it's so frequent, and I'm not going to pull the race card, but it is a specific race every time. Who come in, store closes at 9, they show up at 8:59, they order all their food, and they don't tip you, and they'll tip you like $2 on an $80 bill.
Oh my goodness!
You know, and they're mad that the food comes out slow. Well, it's slow because the kitchen is ready to go home. They had to take all their stuff back out for you for your $80 food. So. Yeah, people are entitled in this country. They feel entitled. They are not entitled.
Right.
They feel entitled.
They feel entitled.
And that's the cultural thing. That's where
But
the
you
whole
see,
walking
but
around with
the
guns
thing
on
that
your
I-
face. That's where that comes in.
But also, I will tell you that in Europe, when they work in restaurants in Europe, it's a completely different. People working in restaurants, they get a better
It's a wage. Oh yeah.
Well,
they get a better hourly rate,
and tipping,
the tips are split between everybody.
When we were in Australia, they didn't even encourage tipping. You didn't tip.
Yeah.
It was just you.
Well, if
you
it's
paid
over
your bill.
if it's over so many,
Yeah.
then you pay actually a tip.
Yeah.
Here's the difference. In Europe, you tip because you like the service. In Australia, you tip because you like the service.
Right.
In America, you tip so the waiter can survive.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You tip because the Uber driver can survive.
That is true. That's a darn good way to put it.
Yep.
Because if you don't, they're getting $2.30 or whatever it is. It's ridiculous.
Chump change.
But why do you think that is? Do you think it's because
it's cheaper for the business?
The business. That's what I think
it all comes down to.
And that hasn't changed in a long time. That wage has been that way for a long time.
$2.25 is what a server makes an hour.
I don't know why the government let them get away with it.
Because you have to protect the corporation. Look, if you protect the corporation, it'll trickle down to the class. You know.
But you see, that's what upsets me so much when people turn around and say, and people have got this thing that, the trickle down effect. The trickle down effect never works.
Never has, never will.
It never works. It just doesn't. And I say this to everybody: is okay. I make $10 million last year. If say I make $10 million this year, all right, and I don't need to employ more people, I'm not going to employ more people.
Right.
What's the point? I want to be an efficient business. Not that I make that sort of money and never have made that sort of money.
Right.
But I would never.
One day.
I would never ever employ. I've got some good people that work for me. The good people, perhaps I would give them a raise, if I could. But the truth of the matter is, they'd have to show me worth.
Right. It goes back to the entitlement. Like Jack said, people, they feel entitled to things. You hear people use words like "I deserve" or "I have to have," or it's like no, you don't.
It just isn't. It's just so
weird.
I wish we could help more people. That's the thing that I feel very.
Oh yeah.
I wish that we could. I wish we could help.
And I think
more
we are helping
because they've got to live.
I think we are helping by what we're doing right here is the education and the knowledge. That's because at the end of the day, what is the solution? It's to educate and to show people the correct way.
But that's the biggest. True. But you see, well, here we go. Now we're on another subject. We was going to talk about this. But I think when people turn around and have got this thing, the secret out of poverty, and it's no secret, but I think the importance of getting out of poverty is education and knowledge.
It is.
And I really think that what happens is, I'll never forget when my daughter Jill comes home and she was with some of her fancy friends at school. And she came home and said, what's that? Sorority sister. And said, I want to go to Pepperdine in California. Oh, what?
The school?
Pepperdine, what is it? Is it a candy school or something? Thinking, she said, no. And how much was that place?
It doesn't even matter.
We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars.
To go to Pepperdine, yeah.
And I turned around and said, you're on drugs.
Get a scholarship.
But here's the, and that's what we told her. He says, okay, you can go there if you get a scholarship. But the truth of the matter is, I really think that if people had that not free education, but like I went through Cambridge University, okay? I was a college dropout, but even though I dropped out of college, I still gained a level of education. I dropped out because of Olympics. And I did Olympics because that was taking so much training and so much dedication. But you know what? I still learned so much from the experience.
Yeah.
And it goes back to the same guy I said to you, who was the doctor, 36 years old, got 400,000 around his neck.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel is so wrong. And that's why I think it's limited different. I think it limits, you know, we can pull the race card, but it limits different races, and it limits different, you know, people. But at the bottom of the line, there's got to be accountability somewhere in that. And I think, and I agree with what you're saying with the entitlement issue. Happens all the time.
Oh yeah.
But the truth of the matter is, yes, you're right with the entitlement, but the truth of the matter is, I do think there should be some help, but there needs to be accountability for that help.
Well, it needs to be help, not a crutch. And people have gotten to the point to where unemployment, you know, housing assistance, medical assistance, those programs are put into place to help for a period of time. But you have folks that generations of people are consistently, the grandma was on it, the mom is on it, the daughter is on it,
and
everybody's on it.
But that's the difference in Europe. When you go onto that help, you're limited in time.
Right. It should be.
You're limited in time.
And it should be.
It's a step up to get there, but you've got that.
And then you should be cut off after it exhausts. Like, look, just like unemployment benefits.
Right.
Look, you've been on this
and then
for 2 years.
what they also do, they've started to do now, which I think is actually pretty clever. They'll turn around and say, okay, this is your help. This is how much you can get over 6 months. But you've got to go out and work, even if it's part-time, even if it's, you know, full-time, just to get that little bit more, get them over. If they don't, then you know what happens? They lose that help.
Right.
It's a different thing, but sorry for some of the people on the call. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to.
But yeah, no, it's like, to go back to the poverty thing, like to get out of poverty in America, it doesn't take hard work. It really takes leverage, because you have to, everything in America runs on debt, right? When you buy a house, you're not buying a house unless you're paying cash. You're buying a loan.
Right.
Your businesses, to really get a good margin in your business, what do? You get a loan, because you can pay the interest, you make more money, that's more in your pocket. And so it's like Chamath, I don't even know how to pronounce his last name, but you know I'm talking about, the Indian dude. He was talking about how with all these millionaires, they all run on margin, right? And so that's why they'll get so rich, but they can lose that equity in a heartbeat. As soon as a Tesla stock tanks, like Elon Musk loses billions of dollars worth of equity, like in his business, but he can get it back, right? It's unrealized, but that's just how it is. And so when you have like all these things built on debt, that's just how it works in America. So going back to what you were saying, where it affects the incomes, you have to have a good income to be able to get a loan of any sort.
Right.
Well, that's part of.
Unless you're a student.
Yeah, unless you're a student.
They'll throw it all at you if you're a student, which is ridiculous.
But I mean, even then, it's like those students have student debt.
Right.
Like it's more debt, you know.
More debt. Yeah.
And most of the kids my age and younger nowadays are starting their net worth at a negative, like negative 30,
right, but
negative 40.
That's one of the reasons why I believe in. I personally believe in paying for kids' school.
I was going to say, don't say it.
I really do. But at the same time, I think there should be accountability with that. I think there should be accountability.
Accountability from who? The student?
From the student.
I think school shouldn't be held on the pedestal that it's held at today.
Well, and I think
totally agree.
and I think that's part of the problem, because in Europe, we put more leverage on technical schools.
Yeah. Like training.
And it
like
should be.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to be specialized in like medicine or law or something that is. There's no way that it should be so elevated that, oh yeah, you got to go to get this because it's just a dream.
We put more leverage on air conditioning, plumbing, electricians.
Stuff that everybody's going to need forever.
Conveniently, those jobs have low employment right now, by the way.
Because them jobs that we're talking about, apparently there's a shortage of them.
Exactly.
They are.
And they pay well. You get $20, $30 an hour with those jobs.
You know, so...
we've definitely taken a turn. This could be like a whole different video, but don't get me started on the school thing, because I tried my son right now. I had the conversation with him. I said, listen, don't go to school for me. Go to school if you want to go.
Yes. Well, that's the mistake he made.
Or if you want to do something, great.
He went to school for
mom and dad.
Right. And I think that's what happened. And I said, don't go for me. I said, now, you can go get a job, and, if you want to take some classes, whatever, that's cool, man. But don't go get in a whole bunch of debt and, drive up all this, just chill. Because, quite frankly, unless you're getting something like a STEM degree of some sort, then all this other stuff, man, it really doesn't matter. Not the way it used to matter.
Right.
It used to be a big deal, and it kind of separated you from that. But really, man, most of the people now are getting a humanities degree. Gender studies and English and drama and
liberal arts.
All this kind of stuff. And it's like, if it's not a STEM degree, hey, it's I don't know. I don't know where it kind of puts you. And even those don't guarantee you a job, but it at least puts you, okay, science, technology, math and engineering. Okay, cool. I got one of those degrees. I can find somewhere to go and get a job somewhere. But to just sell a kid, okay, you graduate, boom, you go to school, they push and try to do the best they can. Taking a step backward, but also in the same vein, there's some, I can't remember the city, I think some city in Mississippi, there was a confusion with the valedictorian and the salutatorian. And they ended up having to have co-salutatorians and co-valedictorians because there was a miscalculation on the grades. Some little town in Mississippi, I can't remember the name of it. But what ended up happening is they were going at odds and taking it to court and ultimately settled on having two. But these students were so up in awe about, that's it. What city is that in? So they had a what they call a weighted GPA, and then just a regular GPA, cumulative GPA or whatever. West Point, Mississippi. That's it. That's exactly it. So nevertheless, these two black students ended up being the weighted GPA, which I think is a little more difficult because it takes into consideration that you're taking AP classes and honors classes and all that stuff, which I think should drive your GPA higher. Yep. But overall, these other two students, which just happen to be white, they make everything a race thing. Their GPAs ended up being a little bit lower, but nevertheless, I look at these four students and how hard they work to be the top of their class, and what are they going to do afterwards? What are all those medals going to get them once they leave here and go to college, right? Because they're going to be in school with people that other valedictorians. This is going to be another number.
10 seconds in an interview pitch.
That's it. That's all it's going to do.
Second-hand value.
That's it. So they're pushing so hard to be so great at this, and I'm not saying you shouldn't try to achieve excellence, but unless you're going to try to get some type of STEM degree, there's no guarantee that you're fighting over this here that's going to get you anything in life. But that's the picture that we paint to everybody.
Yeah. Sir.
Yes, co-salutatorian. Which, I mean, ultimately, I think, hey, you made a mistake. You can't just rip it from one kid's hands and give it to the other one. It's like, look, you've already announced this one, and you did it wrong based on how the rules are written. I guess the right thing to do was to put it all in there. But nevertheless, that was a very interesting story to read that. But the school thing for me, man, I'm the shoot. I mean, my job does not even require that you go to school.
Let's ask you a question. Did you ever graduate from college?
No.
Oh, I didn't know that.
No.
I didn't know you didn't go to college.
No, I went.
Or graduate,
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where...
Did you drop out?
Well, so I thought I was going to be a doctor and did not...
Like everybody else in the, the United States.
That's what I wanted. But, man, it's just... And I'm not telling anybody that you shouldn't go, because I think what it does, it makes you kind of a more well-rounded person. Because you get to deal with people from different walks of life and different areas of town and beliefs and all that jazz, which is going to be real life, right?
Yeah.
I think that's important. But man, it is not one of those things that's
interesting
required.
when you look at some of the people that own some of these big businesses and you see whether they've been to college or not, never been to college.
What's Jobs didn't graduate?
No.
I don't think. I mean,
Steve
he could be like
Jobs,
the normal Bill Gates.
Elon Musk, did he? I don't think he was a college.
No, he went to Harvard, but he tells people that it's a waste of money. Like he even says he'll not hire someone from college. Like he races it. But I think he went to Harvard.
I will say this.
That's
your nemesis Donald Trump removed some of those mandates for college degrees in these federal jobs.
But that's one of the problems, I think, that is a problem with corporate America. There is a well-known company that I know and work with on a regular basis. They won't employ people
without a college degree.
But then you get into like the story. Did you remember the lady from Full House paid her kid to pay the coach?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yes. What's her name? Aunt Becky. Yeah, that chick. I forgot her real name. The Full House lady.
This is all you got to put. Fucking.
Lori Loughlin. Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
It's like then you have people like that.
And then check it out. Here was the thing about that, which kind of hacked me off. So her daughter, apparently she already had like this makeup company that made millions of subscribers on YouTube, that she would get on there and she would talk about not even wanting to go to school. I don't know why I do this. I hate it. Blah, blah. And here it is. You cheated to get her in there. Mm-hmm. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah, and there was like other millionaires on this. It wasn't just, she got the most heat because she's the most famous one.
And she pleaded not guilty to start.
Yeah.
I think they were trying to make an example of her. She only got like what, a couple weeks in,
a
couple months,
2 months,
2 months in jail, because there was another lady from Sex and the City. I think she got like 16 days or something. But yeah, they cheated somebody out of a spot, and it's not cool. But we put so much weight on this, man. And if anything needs regulating, it's the freaking cost of college, bro.
56 people.
56. There's a Netflix show or Netflix something that's out that kind of is talking about it, and there was a lot of people involved in that thing. And the way that he did it, he just kind of fell into it and he just kept it rolling. This coach, he just kind of kept it. Before he knew it, he kind of had a stable of people just funneling money.
I bet he was making more money.
Oh, he was
than anything he's.
He
ever
was
made
rolling
before.
in it.
Yeah.
I don't know how much time he got or if he's going to get a whole lot of time or whatever, but he was definitely in on it. But yeah.
And if you think about it, if somebody wants to be a plumber, there's no point in them going to college.
No, you don't need to.
Real estate, like the amount of kids I graduated with, the guy I played basketball with, his father was the coach. Got a 4-year marketing degree, yada yada yada. Now sells vending machines. I mean, good for him. Like, I'm not cutting him, but he sells vending machines and he's getting a real estate license.
Really?
Imagine where he would be now if he would have done that 4 years.
Yeah.
He probably would have been making 6 figures. Yeah, he would have been making 6 figures by now.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I hope, but so.
It's all hindsight 2020, man. That's why it's one of them things.
But a lot of it is, when we teach this with our coaching program at Olympian, but one of the things that I learned from coaching was you can be the most knowledgeable person in the world, but if you don't know how to apply the knowledge, that knowledge is worthless.
Right.
And that's the problem with a lot of people. They read stuff, and they read everything, but they haven't got a clue how to apply the knowledge. They haven't got a clue how to apply the solutions.
That's why, for me, just having a college degree shouldn't give you the golden ticket, because you just completed a list of tasks.
When I at one time I was looking at a move from coming out of the ice rink business in Wales. Somebody put me on to a job working for a well-known confectionery company called Cadbury's. Do you know Cadbury's?
Oh, the Cadbury Eggs Company?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I knew the guy pretty well, and he said, I really think, you could do pretty good at this. He says, you could do really good, da-da-da-da-da. We filled the form in, and it was for an area manager for Cadbury. And you know why they wouldn't even entertain my application?
No college degree?
No college degree. And I knew the area manager, and I says, why did you even tell me? Because the application must have been 6 or 5 pages. I mean, it was just ridiculous.
Right.
And I said, why did you even tell me to fill it in if I needed a college degree?
Wasted your time.
Yeah. And I said, well, how does it help me having a college degree? And he turned around and said, even if you had a college degree, right, he said, even if you had a college degree, putting nuts and bolts together, that's all they want.
Really?
Yeah, let me pay 40,000 euros to figure out how to screw a bolt into a piece of plywood.
Yeah.
Anyway, I guess that's it for today.
That's it, man. I think we unpacked a lot.
Yeah, we don't need to do a show next week.
Right. Absolutely. Well, it was good. It was good talking.
We'll do a show next week.
Oh yeah, we'll figure something out.
Yeah, we'll get Aaron on. Just do.
I'll be out of town, but hey, y'all can talk.
Where you going? Costa Rica again?
No, Myrtle Beach this time. It's for the golf trip.
Myrtle Beach. Where's that, Florida?
South Carolina.
Okay.
Pretty popular spot, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
I've heard the name.
Yeah, absolutely. So
you just want to practice with your 7 iron.
I'm no good. I'm terrible.
All right, guys. Well, have a good week.
Yeah. Follow us.
Stay happy.
Yes, all of our information is down in the description
subscribe,
below.
and do all the good stuff.
Tune in, share it, comment, like it, all that good jazz.
Yeah.
All right.
And keep happy.
Take care.
Take care.
Discussion. Herb Ewell, Lee Johnson.